Hey guys, it's Fry the Cop Guy here. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Looking forward to some really nice weather here in Delaware. It's supposed to be in the 60s. So that means I'm going to go out and ride my bike. But this is going to be a different topic. I got a recommendation from a friend of mine who wanted to show how to disassemble a firearm. Now this particular firearm is going to be my Glock 23. My Glock 23 40 caliber. It's a double stack that holds 13 and 1 round. So 14 rounds in total. So before you touch any firearm, you always want to make sure if it's loaded. You always treat every gun as it's loaded, obviously. But when you disassemble a firearm, you definitely want to make sure for a fact, especially Glock, because you have to pull the trigger in order to fully disassemble the firearm. You want to make sure you look inside of the chamber, you look inside of the barrel, and where the bullet would sit. You make sure you look that absolutely 110,000% that there's nothing inside there. So I even put my finger inside there to make sure there's absolutely nothing. And you can tell there's nothing in there now, but you always verify, no matter 110%, 110,000%, as many times as you want to think, nothing inside there. So for Glocks, this is only going to be for Glocks. Takedowns for Sig Sauer, H&K, all other kinds are different than this one. I'm going to do my best as far as trying to show you how to take this apart because I'm going to have one hand, so it's going to be kind of difficult, but I'm going to do the best I can. So to disassemble a Glock, you want to make sure that it is in full battery, which means you want to have the slide fully forward and the trigger fully out, not compressed. So what you're going to do is you see this perforated part right here, and you see this part of the dovetail right here. Obviously, we've already made sure that it was there's nothing inside the chamber. There is no round in there. But still, you want to treat it as there's always a round in there, no matter what. So we're going to point away from us. What I like to do is I like to put my fingers like this. I like to grab back. So see, like here, I'll put just like I'm shooting, I'll put the V of my hand inside here, grab like this, and I'll put my fingers on top of it just like this. You gotta want to make sure that your hands are out of the way of the barrel that's right here. Sorry, it's a little blurry right there. Of the barrel that's right here, because this is going to pull backwards. So you want to be careful that you don't get your finger, sorry, my hand, so it pulls back like that. There's an opening right there. You got to be really careful. It's very sharp, and these are very sharp. These are all very sharp pieces of metal. And if you get your hand in there, it's going to be a really bad day. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep your hands back here, and I like to put my pointer finger here and my thumb underneath here. And just, as you'll see, this is flush, not flush, flush, not flush. Pretty much what that does is it allows you to, down here, there's one on this side, there's one on this side. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab them with both, what I do is I grab them with my left hand, which is going to be hard to show with one hand, and you pull down like this, you pull them straight down while holding this back just like this, with a little bit of unflushness, and while pulling them down. So when you do that, so you're going to hold this back, push those down, and you're going to fire the trigger. You actually have to put your finger all the way inside the trigger and depress this finger state to here in order to pull the trigger. There's no external safeties on this. There's only internal safeties on a Glock. So I can't really do this with one hand, so I'm going to show you how to do it with two and after the fact. Okay, so we're here, and now you can tell this is kind of unflush. Before it was kind of like this part up here, this part right here was a little more flush with this, but now this is kind of open. That's how you know you did it correctly, and also that the trigger is decompressed. And you can tell back here that's also unflush, and that part of the slide mount is sticking out. So that's how you know you did it correctly. So after you did that, all you do, push it down, you separate the upper receiver from the lower receiver. I guess then what you're going to get in here, you're going to clean all here. With Glocks, you don't oil them a lot. Glocks run with the most minimal amount of oil possible. But that's a video for another time. which I'm going to show you how to clean the Glock. But he's separated just like this. So this is the lower receiver. This is the upper receiver. It has the tension spring along with the barrel. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the tension spring off, but just be mindful the tension spring is under tension, so you don't want to let it fly. Just gently pull this up, pull this out. The nipple part goes towards the end here, where they have this little hole right here. So the nipple part goes right into here. And you want to take the barrel out. You just want to grab by here and slightly push it out. Hard one hand. Gotta do that. Let that out. And that is a field strip Glock. When you take apart a Glock, you always want to wipe it down before you put it back together. Your hands have salt and oils on them, and salt and oil will rust when it comes to the metals that are part of the pistol. So anytime you put them back together, when you put the barrel back in here with this, you want to wipe it down. It's only temporarily, and it's pretty well oiled right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Normally I only do that as shooting, but like I said, you normally want to make sure that you wipe it down before you put it back together. So putting it back together is just everything in reverse. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that this part with these little cutouts here, the barrel, is facing forward. You're just going to slide it in there. So it sits down. Make sure it's seated all the way back. Nipple. Down in here. Now, when you do this, remember I was telling you how there's these two little cutouts here? You want to make sure that, see where this is like kind of like almost like a semicircle down here? You want to make sure that this portion down here is flush to the bottom part of that. If it's sticking out a little bit, you might shoot it, it could fly off, and then you could have some serious problems. So you want to make sure it's flush. So, when you put it back in, it's going to look like that. It is flush to the bottom. As you see, it's all the way down and seated. It's steady, stable. And the nipple portion is sticking out the bottom part here. And then what you're going to do, this is going to be interesting with one hand, you see the rails right here, how they run down the side of the barrel. We'll check this out. There's rails that run down the side. Ain't that something? So what you're going to do, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one hand. I can try. Is you're going to run this where it's down with the rails. So set this up here. Don't mind my Wawa water. So here, line these rails up just like so, and push it on. It should slide on with no force at all. So it should literally just slide on with no force at all. Get it back to here. So now that it's flush. And now what you want to do is you want to make sure that here, that click means that it is seated onto, the upper is seated onto the lower. And now to check. Charge it a few times. Make sure the release holds it back. Charge it up. Put your rounds in. And good to go. So that's how you properly disassemble a Glock. Whether it be a Glock 17, a Glock 42, Glock 43, Glock 23, Glock 22. They have all kinds of crazy numbers. Don't ask me what the numbers mean. The Glock has a very interesting way of explaining that. So, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think.